Well, I just sold the chairs and I'm trying to decide whether to keep this railing or sell it. I put the greenery on it that was previously hanging on the lights up on the patio, and I got a new pot. I just threw a chair out there and I'm thinking, I don't really need to buy much of anything. I got plenty of stuff to move out there. So we keep having beautiful days and no time to work in the garden. So I've got 15 minutes early morning before work. A little nippy, but beautiful. Yesterday was Ash Wednesday, and so as I'm digging up all this dead, icky stuff that's just gonna get thrown away, I'm reflecting on the season of Lent and how we are messed up and our old self is buried. Of course, also Ash Wednesday and the dust to dust. All of this is just decaying and turning back into dust. But I got a lot done in 15 minutes, and I was able to go to work feeling like the outdoors had filled my soul, and I got a little bit of exercise. The day was so beautiful that I just wanted to stay home all day, but I had to go to work. And no sooner than I got home on my lunch hour than I was right back out there. We have to get these leaves and dead stuff out of the flower beds before everything starts growing, because then it can no longer be raked out and you have to just bend over and get them with your hands or sit on your knees, which I will go back through the bed that way a second trip, but this is the best way to do it before things start growing too much. And so, speaking of bending over, I kept thinking to myself every time I bent over, head and nose to, how does it go? Head and nose, knees and toes, knees and toes, knees and toes, however that goes. Back from my childhood, I used to watch my grandparents, my mom's parents, do that little exercise and encourage us kids to do it too. And it kind of brought back some fond memories. So I am able to walk in this bed and go around the back side. I can't really step up in that bed. It's too tall for me. And it's much longer than it looks from this view. I probably should have gotten a before and after shot of all of the work that I did here. Goodness, I was exhausted by the time I was done. I am this way every spring, not having gotten much exercise through the winter, and it just feels so good to make my muscles hurt a little bit and to open up the lungs. It's amazing what a little bit of raking will do for you. I always have to get my little scissors because if things are too tall, the dead stuff, I can't just rake through it. Sometimes I can rake it and half the dead stuff will come out, but there'll still be a few tall ones. So I always have to grab my scissors and cut things back. And so this is great exercise for my stomach muscles. But you see that it's beautiful blue skies, and I have a ton of stuff now to rake up and get into the truck, but I'm going to wait till after work to do that with hubby, and we'll get a little bit more work done in the evening. This area of the yard is nice and sunny at noontime, but this time of year after work, it's totally shaded and it starts getting cold. So I really wanted to do this when it was a bit nicer outside. I always wonder about doing this so early on these beautiful days, as I know it's going to turn cold again, and I don't want any frost that could happen up until the end of May or the end of April, whenever it is, to zap things. But I think since they're all already in the ground, they always seem to do well, even if a cold snap comes again later, and I'm sure it will. And as I was going through, I was looking at the irises that were pretty tall, and I was raking right over them and saying, "Wake up, Iris, wake up. It's time to start growing." Now I put my Crocs on, and when I took them back off in order to go back to work, my feet were so dirty. And so I had to clean my feet just to go back to work. Had to just stick them up in the sink. There's no sun out. It's kind of cool this evening. See, I thought I might sell that rail, but I think it might be pretty cute. The reason why I want to sell it, because it's hard to clean the wall, the fence, and clean behind it. But it'd be easier than what we had. I did go by, and goodness, pots are expensive. 2 huge pots over the weekend. There's one, and there's one. This one, we're gonna dig up that stuff, the big yellow flowers to the right, and put something new there, and I might stick that pot right there on the edge of that. And I might get some more pots. We're not gonna do the hanging plants this year. I got so many projects and things going through my brain. I bought also some concrete paint. I'm going to try to paint these stones white, and of course I'm going to leave some of these and finish taking up the rest. You remember when I worked on them a couple weeks ago, they were still frozen. Yep, I'm going to dig all that up and move it. So show you. See, we got stuff sticking up everywhere. This stuff's gonna have to be painted. We're watching this rose. We think it died. And this tree, we think it might have died. Watching for signs of life. See, this pot is always just fantabulous every year. That's why we're going to try pots instead of hanging baskets. We'll do a few hanging baskets. Oh, I just saw a bird go in that bird feeder. So speaking of birds, we have a birdhouse we bought last year that we want to put back here. I'll get to that in a minute. So here's what I've done so far. I've got to pick this up. Hubby's working late. But you see, these lilies are growing. I think I might move this, but it's not showing us signs of life yet, but it will. Oh, maybe a little bit. Gotta pick up here. But the beds look a lot better than before I started, even though you can't tell, but there's really not a whole lot of weeds in there. I'm happy that those haven't started yet, so we can get a good start on that. But you see bulbs coming up very nicely. There's a bunch of irises. Bunch of bulbs coming up. So before they got any taller, I had to clean that out. So I have there's something coming up there. Got to clean this side out yet. This has grown so huge. This is another thing I'm going to be dividing and moving here real soon. before it starts growing. So here, there's another big pile I got to pick up yet tonight. So this birdhouse that we have set here, we had such a problem with what we think are bird mites on the patio last year. So we're only going to buy those birdhouses that we can clean out every fall, like this one. And so we have a new one that we bought last fall at a craft fair. So this one's going to turn out to be decoration, and it used to hang right up there and it was full of birds. But we have a new one. But this pergola, now that we took off all but one of the wisteria, because I'm going to have to do something different, the one wisteria, one grapevine is still there. We're going to take an opportunity to stain it white to protect it before we put that birdhouse up. So that's another project we've got going on. And as you see here, I have not cleared this out yet. These are pine needles from those pine trees in the neighbor's yard. And you see, this is what the other beds look like before I whacked at them today. Oh, look at all those that have just been pulled forward. But behind them are bulbs coming up. She loves to go through the beds, especially when I clean them. But the pine needles, from my understanding, they are either too alkaline or too acidic or whatever. I don't know my terms very well. And so we have to get them mostly out of the beds each spring. And I just have a zillion projects. So we have this problem here where it washes under the wall there, and we've tried to direct it there. Got some pretty yellow plants planted in there. Of course, I have not raked this at all. I got to get out here and rake next. But it still comes through and washes down here. And we have some stones lining both sides of the walkway. But it's not working because it keeps washing out the bed. So those bricks we pulled, you'll remember, way over there in that bed, and we still have some to pull, as I was showing you. We're going to try building a wall with them here. Maybe not on this end so much as right in here, to see if we can't keep the dirt in the bed. So, you know, I've got a lot of cutting back to do. So many projects, and we're just getting started. I have to run that down to the truck before I fill it up again, but I forgot to show you we do have crocus blooming. Of course, I need to uncover them. And they're closed up because it's dark, but at noontime they were nice. Our city has a great program where we can take all of this stuff we pick up from our yard and drive it and drop it off, and they turn it into mulch. And then you can go over to the city mulch pile and pick up some of that for free. So we just dump it in the truck. I have to go to load up my second tub full of leaves, and I'm getting a lot of exercise bending up and down, and I'm getting rather exhausted and wanting to quit for the day, but I have to get this stuff picked up. I go back for my final and third load after talking to my neighbor, and now it's gotten rather dark outside and it's 54 degrees with no sunlight, and it's quite cold, and I think I'm done for the day. City of the Sirens, that's what we call it. Always sirens. But looks like an ambulance. But this is a lot for one person for one day.